Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're here to break down some really complex stuff and pull out what you need to know. And today, well, we're heading into territory that honestly sounds like pure science fiction sometimes.
It really does.
We're talking about the convergence, the merging of artificial intelligence and DNA.
That's right. It's a big one. We're going to dig into how AI isn't just, crunching numbers or analyzing text anymore. It's actually getting involved with the absolute blueprint of life.
The blueprint of life itself.
Yeah.
So this is really an exploration of how we're figuring out how to understand and maybe even, well, change the fundamental code that makes us.
Exactly. And as we'll get into, this isn't just confined to labs anymore. It's got huge potential for advancements across loads of different fields.
Fields you might not even connect immediately,
Yeah.
right? And it brings up some really deep questions for all of us, doesn't it, about humanity's future.
For sure. We're potentially talking about a shift where, down the line, maybe people become like interconnected parts of this larger biodigital thing, a network.
Okay, let's try and ground that a bit. Part one, maybe let's decode this biodigital merge. Where do we start?
Well, the core, right? It's DNA, that amazing molecule, just 4 letters, ATGEC.
The original source code.
Yeah.
It dictates pretty much everything about how your body works, how it develops.
Exactly. And forever, basically, we've just been observers, reading the code, trying to figure it out.
But that's changing fast now. We've got these incredible technologies coming online.
Right. We're shifting from just reading to actively writing, or editing at least.
Okay, so what are the key techs making this happen? CRISPR comes to mind immediately.
CRISPR is definitely a huge piece of the puzzle. Think of it like super precise molecular scissors.
Right.
It lets scientists make really targeted snips and changes in specific DNA sequences. It's just a game changer for how we interact with biology at that fundamental level.
Okay, molecular scissors, got it.
Yeah.
But that's the editing part.
Yeah.
Where does the AI, the intelligence, come into play? It's not just about the cutting, is it?
Not at all. AI, especially things like DeepMind's AlphaFold, well, that cracked a massive problem.
Protein folding, I remember hearing about that. Why is that so important here?
Well, proteins do pretty much all the work in your cells, right? And their 3D shape determines what they do. It dictates their function.
Okay.
And predicting that shape from the DNA sequence alone was like this grand challenge for decades. AlphaFold can now do it with amazing accuracy.
Yeah.
So that gives us this unprecedented view of how your cellular machinery actually works. And that's crucial if you're thinking about making changes, even small ones, to the DNA that codes for those proteins.
So the AI helps us predict the consequences of an edit before we even make it, like running a simulation for biology.
Kind of, yeah. It helps us understand the downstream effects. And it's not just protein folding either.
What else?
AI algorithms are just phenomenal at analyzing massive biological data sets, finding patterns, predicting how cells might behave under different conditions.
Like after a gene edit, or maybe if you introduce a new drug.
Exactly. So for you, the listener, this means potentially much more targeted treatments, therapies maybe even tailored to your unique genetic code.
Right. So going back to that analogy, AI isn't just reading the source code anymore. It's helping us rewrite it, but with a much, much clearer idea of what might happen.
Yeah, it's almost becoming the compiler for the next stage of life, maybe.
The compiler for life. That's a pretty powerful idea.
It is. We're really moving from just observing nature to actively designing biological systems, engineering them.
Okay, that paints the picture conceptually.
Yeah.
But let's make it more concrete. Can we talk about some real-world examples? Where is this AI-biotech combination actually making a difference right now?
Absolutely. Let's take AlphaFold again. Predicting those protein structures. It's massively sped up drug discovery.
How so?
Well, researchers can now understand the mechanisms of diseases, like the specific proteins involved, much better. Even diseases that were kind of a black box before. And that understanding directly helps in designing new drugs to target those mechanisms.
Okay, that's huge for medicine. And what about CRISPR? You mentioned editing.
Yeah.
How is AI making that better or safer?
Right, so AI and machine learning are being used to analyze huge amounts of genomic data. They help pinpoint the best places to make edits with CRISPR for a particular goal.
And avoiding mistakes.
Predicting potential off-target effects, accidental changes elsewhere in the DNA. That makes the whole process much more precise, much safer. Imagine AI sorting through, like, billions of data points to find the one right edit for your specific condition.
That's incredible. Safety and precision are obviously key there. Now, I also read something kind of mind-bending about storing digital data in DNA. Microsoft, MIT,
Yeah, that's another wild one. It sounds pure sci-fi, but they've actually done it. Encoded digital information like files, images into DNA
Why
molecules.
would you do that?
The storage density is just astronomical,
Well,
way beyond current hard drives or tapes. It's still early days, obviously, but imagine archiving massive data sets for centuries in a tiny amount of DNA. And AI is crucial there too for the complex job of actually writing the digital code into DNA letters and then reading it back accurately.
so the building blocks of life could literally become our hard drives.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, obviously thing. What about closer to home,
Yeah.
like daily health? You mentioned something about digital health agents.
Yes, that's a really exciting area that's emerging. AI-powered systems that can constantly monitor your biometrics.
From wearables, watches, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Wearables, maybe other sensors. The AI analyzes those data streams in real time and gives you personalized advice.
Well, like,
Could be anything from suggesting tweaks to your medication schedule, maybe changes to your exercise routine, or even uh, guidance on managing stress or mood based on physiological signals it picks up.
so AI becomes like a continuous personalized health coach integrated into your life.
That's the idea. It's becoming a really critical tool across so many areas. Genetic therapy, designing new drugs faster, mental health support, even things like IVF, embryo selection, and definitely longevity science.
It really feels like we're just scratching the surface. You called it year zero earlier. What did you mean by that?
Just that. While these things are already happening, they're amazing. But the full potential of AI plus biotech, we haven't really seen anything yet.
Right.
So for you listening, the stuff we're seeing now, it's likely just the very beginning of a huge wave of change that's going to impact health, biology, maybe even just how we live.
Okay, so AI helps read, write, store data in DNA,
Mhm.
leading to better health, maybe longer life. But this obviously opens up a whole other dimension, doesn't it? Beyond just treating disease, human enhancement.
It does. That's the next logical or perhaps controversial step. Once you gain this kind of fine-grained control over biology,
The possibilities go beyond just fixing genetic problems.
exactly. You start getting into modifications potentially aimed at enhancing human capabilities, intelligence, maybe personality traits, disease resistance beyond the norm, athletic ability, lifespan itself, even emotional predispositions.
Which is, well, it's both amazing and maybe a bit unnerving to think about.
It definitely pushes us into some deep philosophical waters.
Yeah, like what does it even mean to be human if we can fundamentally change our own biological essence? The concept of the post-human.
That's the big question people are starting to ask. And what about things like natural selection? If we can engineer intelligence or resilience, does natural selection still operate in the same way? Are we consciously taking the reins of our own evolution?
And the social implications?
Yeah.
That feels huge. Could we end up with a society split between the biologically enhanced and the unenhanced? Sounds like a dystopian movie plot, but
And it's a real concern. The potential to just massively widen existing inequalities is serious if these powerful technologies aren't accessible.
that they're only for the rich and powerful.
Then you could absolutely see a future with significant biological advantages for some, creating even bigger divides in society. That's a future we need to actively try and avoid.
So how do we navigate that? How do we try and make sure the benefits are shared? This brings us to that idea you mentioned, an intelligence layer, and maybe X365. What's that about?
Okay, so the intelligence layer. Think of it as the underlying infrastructure needed to support this whole biodigital shift, but in a way that ideally benefits everyone, including you, the listener.
Like the internet enables apps and websites.
Kind of, yeah. It's the framework technology, information, tools that empowers individuals to understand and actually use these advancements for themselves.
And X365's role in building this layer, they're not doing the gene editing themselves, right?
Correct. They're focused on building the sort of intelligent network around this revolution, trying to empower individuals directly.
Oh.
Well, a few ways. They're working on AI systems to analyze your individual health data pulled from different sources. They're also really focused on education, helping people understand AI's role in longevity, biology, health.
Okay, analysis and education. What else?
They're also looking at funding models, possibly using token economics to support innovation globally in this space. The idea is to build an ecosystem where more people, where you can actually participate in this biotech AI revolution, not just be passive recipients.
So the vision is less about providing direct enhancements and more about giving people the knowledge and the tools to manage their own health in this new era.
Exactly. Picture a future where you have, say, an AI agent working for you, optimizing your health based on your unique biology.
Using data from...
Your digital twin, maybe a virtual model of your biology, constantly updated with data from your wearables, tracking your cortisol, mood patterns, heart rate variability, all of it.
Yeah.
Then an AI coach uses that information to give you truly personalized recommendations,
Yeah.
tailored just for you, your goals, your body's real-time state.
That sounds incredibly personalized. And the goal is to make that level of proactive health management accessible, not just for the super wealthy.
That's the core idea, yes. Building this intelligence layer, encouraging engagement. The aim is to democratize access, to make sure the benefits of AI meeting DNA aren't just for a tiny elite, but reach a much wider population, hopefully including you.
This has been, well, quite the journey, from the basic ATGCS all the way to digital twins and potentially re-engineering ourselves. We've covered a lot.
We really have. And the main takeaway should be that this AI DNA integration, it's not some far-off future thing. It's happening now, and it's accelerating. It's going to shape the future you live in.
Yeah, we're definitely moving beyond just thinking about digital tech, software, computers, to engaging with the actual processes of life itself.
That's the fundamental shift.
And you said something earlier that really stuck with me, moving from being coders of software to potentially becoming engineers of reality.
I think that captures the scale of it. It really reframes how we need to think about technology's power and our role in it.
So in this new era, understanding intelligence, not just artificial, but biological, maybe even emotional intelligence, that becomes a key skill.
Absolutely vital, I'd say. It's moving beyond just using the tools to actually understanding the principles driving both the digital world and the biological world around us and within us.
So as we wrap up, standing here at what feels like the dawn of this intelligence-first biology, what's the final message for our listeners?
I think the core message is, this is happening, this revolution is underway, and it will increasingly touch your life. AI meeting DNA isn't just a cool science project. It's a truly transformative force. It could reshape huge parts of how we exist.
Okay. And on that note, maybe a final thought for everyone listening to consider. In this rapidly changing biodigital world, what role do you want to play? And how will you develop your own understanding of the incredible power tied up in intelligence, both the artificial kind and the kind encoded in your very own DNA?
A powerful question to leave with.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.